Hey, hi. Gosh, I wish I was there with you. We could just fellowship for the full hour, but I won't. Okay, so my presentation for the three of you I haven't trained before is going to be on AEC objects, PDF plans, and Xrefs, and oh, dear, all those other things that we encounter because we're going along just going clippity-clop, doing our great thing in CET, come to a screeching halt when it comes to AutoCAD. Now, because I have trained many of you for so many years, I thought, all right, I'll put up a little family gallery. How's all the people? Okay, so you saw the horses in the welcome the other day. So this is Skipper, this is mine, up here in the top left with Lily, they get along. My lovely bride of, yes, now 34 years is with TJ. Okay, they're standing in the back of the property, and that's pretty much a view from my office window right now. Kate showed us her lake yesterday, and so I'm showing you my pasture this time. The kitty right there is actually down there in that corner right there. I thought she'd be up on her tree, but she was gone all day yesterday. And I says, I'm locking you in the room. You cannot leave. Over on the left is TJ and Lily, one of my favorite shots of them in the barn. Okay, Joshua, who many of you have heard about over the years, who I've trained for silly ever, he is now 30. He will be 31 next month. He came home a couple of weeks ago with his girlfriend, Carrie. He lives in Chicago. They are both flight attendants for SkyWest. So he's digging it. I have no idea where he got the travel bug. And so some of you knew him when he was about that old, because my longest standing customer, I think, Patty, is Goodman's. I've been training Goodman since 1983, somewhere when Eric was there. My longest standing professional person I know is Janice Zinn. She is now with Google. Janice and I met in 83 when I got my first CAD job. I got my first CAD job in 82. She came along shortly thereafter. So Janice and I go back. She's with Google. Some of you are that long with me as well, but I've got some really long standing customers. And then Lily is on the floor at Lowe's, and Donna took the picture of that, and that's our sunrise that comes up. That's across the street, so we see that when it's pretty morning. So things are going well. I am enjoying working from home. I do get to, grill like you heard and get to do barn chores and such like that. But here's what we're going to do. The tool palette, hopefully all of you were aware of the download off of the speaker page. If you got it, that's great. It is a zip file, so you'll want to unzip them and put them in a folder someplace, and then you can follow the instructions on the last page. But you guys are familiar with the tool palette that I bring each year. Well, I actually, the first one was getting so long, guys, I just split it up into two. So there's two tool palettes, the cleanup tool palette that we're gonna hit pretty much all of the stuff on there, and the utilities tool palette, which is just kind of the bottom part that I moved into a second tab that there's two of them. So here's our problem. We get a drawing from Joe Bob, right? We take it into CET, and the doors are boxes. We've seen this. I got this directly from a customer. She says, Michael, what up? I says, well, send me the drawing you got. So this is what I got. Many of you know that it is helpful to have the rollover tooltips. And when we do our training, many of you know that to customize your rollover tooltips, you go in the CUI and you can put on there what you would like to see when you roll over the block. So these kinds of things. And now the thing is, here's where a problem comes. You open the drawing that you brought into CET, and here's the one in AutoCAD, the drawing in AutoCAD, and you roll over it and nothing happens. And you go, oh no, this is one of those. So you right click on it, go to properties. It is an AEC door. So in your book, okay. My book is obviously, Michaelized, because this is how I do my training sessions, right? These are my books with the gold star tips and the BT dubs. I don't do PowerPoint. Me and Kate are kind of like, whatever. We can do PowerPoint, we can spell it, and that's about it. So I have this workbook for you. The problem are the boxes of the doors. The cause are these AEC objects that are coming from AutoCAD architecture, those kinds of, that flavor of AutoCAD. So the solution, there's a command, guys, called -export to AutoCAD. Please notice there's a hyphen in there. Now there's probably some other commands, but this is the one I'm hanging my hat on. What it's going to do is it's going to take that drawing and it is going to create a separate drawing from it, and the separate drawing is going to be fixed. Here's the other thing I decided getting ready for this gig. There's so much I want to tell you. I can't show you, here's the AutoCAD command, here's the button, here's the auto. No, I'm going to go straight for the button, and then you can see what's going on at the bottom. So push button, export to convert AEC objects. This is on the utilities tab. utilities tool palette. Notice down at the bottom it says, hey, press enter for file name, implying, of course, it's going to take this and make a new drawing. But there is a prefix option. So if you put P for prefix in, you get to put in what you would like it to be, like your company, like Goodman's or whatever. So I'm going to go 1 because you're my first session here. Enter is the prefix. So I did P for prefix, then give it a prefix. Then it comes back, it says, all right, now press enter for the file name. And I go, okay. And you press enter, it says, hi, I'm going to call it 1, yada, yada. So what this does is this takes it out and makes a brand spanking new drawing. I'm going to go into open. As soon as I get my cursor back, go into open, come down and open 1. Okay. And so now, please notice when I roll it, hello, Betty. When I roll over it, okay, it's just arcs. And so when I take this into CET, did I do that already? Did I get that all? Yeah, AEC fixed. It'll look like this. Okay, so now you can bring it in, take that DWG, import it into CET, and the doors are fixed. Okay, but wait, there's more. The result here is typically 30 to 60% smaller. The file sizes are like half the size when you do this. Ironically, a couple of months ago, Tony from Inside Source down there in California emailed me. She says, Michael, I've got this just over 8 meg drawing. She was able to tinker with it, get it down to 6.5. I says, Tony, use export to AutoCAD, -export to AutoCAD. That took that drawing, people, down to just over 2 meg. And she was giddy. So it's pretty clear. I just gommed up my thingy. Okay, so that's what that one does. It'll drop your file size really quite nicely. So that's what your button does. Now, major memo. When we go over here, okay, let me go to split view. Do I have it in 3D here? Yeah, okay. We tinker with the right click, right? So we tinker with the right click, you click on it. Oh, what's right click do? You go right click. If you unlink and convert to CAD, it gets rid of the drawing in 3D. So that's up to you. That could be a win. Okay, that you know, that's your call on that thing. But if you were wondering what it does, it just gets rid of the CAD in the 3D view. Okay, top of page 2. Top of page 2. Next, and I queue all these drawings up. Where did I put that one? That was over there. Oh, I might leave that one up. Okay, next. So you get these drawings and they have Xrefs. Okay, so you go down to your Xref manager, or you can type XR. It says, hi, here's the extra Xrefs that you want to take. There's a couple schools of thought, okay. I think Amanda was saying keep the Xrefs, and on other times you want to bring them, you want to squeeze them down and bind them. This is a very small collection of Xrefs, of course, and I know you guys have drawings that just have really long lists, but instead of you doing it, check it out. I have a button over here on the tool palette, push button bind all Xrefs, click it, bye-bye. So it just took all those Xrefs and went squeeze, so you now have one drawing you can take over into CET. Okay, that's what that button does. And I got to close these because I have to reopen them up and don't save them. Next, okay, I love this one. All right, the other tool palette, you know, you're going to get your tool palette here in a little bit. Okay, for cleanup, okay, the cleanup tool palette, and people say, oh, my favorite button is, I should probably take a poll. What's your favorite button on the cleanup tool palette? Okay, I know, thank you. I'm just, geez. I just want to sit down and talk to y'all. Layers everybody on the bus. So you click layers everybody on the bus, and whoosh, and in the back of your head, you're going, now hang on a second. Layers everybody on the bus, thaws, turns on, unlocks, and does a zoom extents. So what up? Then you move your mouse around and you're going, oh no, not those. Yeah. If you do Control A, you ever do Control A in a drawing? Okay, it's like, oh crap. And you see everything, right? It's like, oh dear, I've seen these before. What are those? Those, people, are X clips. And this is why I don't train on them. If you work in a vacuum and nobody else ever touches your drawing, go baby go, but don't send it to me. Do not send me. These are wacky. So I made a button, okay? Put where to go on the utilities, okay? Push button delete X clip boundary, click. Okay, zoom extents. They're gone. They're gone. Okay. All right. Now then, what about this other drawing? Then we get these ones, okay? So I get this other drawing here. We do Control A. We do Control A, right? Okay, so that is, so what is Control A? Everybody on the bus does that thought turn on, unlock, and zoom extents, but this is what's keeping things out. This is why you're going, why is it not working? It's working probably, it's just that these are these squirrely view clippy things. So sure enough, Control A, here they all are. Let's go back to my button. Delete XClip boundary, cool. Control A, not as many, okay, because this is a block. So we're gonna double click on this block and go into the block editor, because the point I wanna make here is that you definitely can go and use this button in the block editor. There's your view clips, push button delete XClip boundary, Control A, they be gone. All right. So there, you don't get them all the time. You don't get them all the time. But again, as you know, the whole point of our fellowship time here is just itty bitty pieces. If I can save you some itty bitty piece times, okay, we're going to be good. Next, if you get an electronically created PDF and you bring it into any version of AutoCAD after 2017, it turns into polylines. But some of us have these drawings from once upon a, okay, where all we had was insert PDF underlay that came along in AutoCAD 2010, right? So what this is, yes, the CAD, Jess, yes, this will all work in CAD LT, and that's on the next page, my dear, good question. So these are all fuzzy, right? So here's what we know. If we take this into CET as well, okay, we can go in and insert image, and they're fuzzy. Come here, there it is. Okay, so they're kind of fuzzy here. And so the reason we have this, the reason we're having this is because we inserted the PDF before converting it into polylines in AutoCAD. And of course, that AutoCAD version would be after 2017, but I have something for you. Okay, so going back to AutoCAD, is this the right version that I want to be in? Yeah. So on your tool palette, I have the import file button. Now the import PDF file button is on the insert tab of your current version of AutoCAD up here at the top, but I put it on the palette. Okay, put it on the palette, grab the drawing. The defaults, guys, are just hunky-dory swell. So you click okie doke, it comes in. I'm going to rotate this drawing, okay. Rotate this around, click. Y'all know that when you hold down Shift, if ortho is off, when you hold down Shift, it turns ortho on, right? Yes, Michael, you taught us that before. Okay, but please notice everything is a polyline. Okay, so now it's a polyline. You brought in this electronically created polyline, PDF and it's polyline. Now what I want to do is I want to scale it, so I put scale on your tool palette. Okay, so scale, ALL for all, base point 0, 0, enter. And then as many of you know, you want to do R for reference. Okay. Anna will address that in a moment. Reference. So I'm going to say, let's say from yay to yay. Okay, and I want to say 36. And then when I zoom extents, it's all, you know, hunky-dory swell. And we have a distance here, so we'll do our distance, and sure enough, she be 3 feet. Okay, now let me give you the whiz bang. So back here in PDF underlay, let's say that you had this project, right? And all you had was the PDF underlay, and you did your thing, panel, panel, ped, ped, chair, chair, but you still have this PDF underlay in your drawing, right? I have a button. Convert existing PDF to polylines. Now this was in the import PDF button, but not a lot of people realize it was even there. So you click convert existing PDF to polylines, you come up to your fuzzy one, you click it and it goes, whoa, and it turns it into polylines, okay? So that is in your book on the top of page 3, okay? You have 16 or earlier, it talks about that, 17 or later, okay? The load image that we have in CET. There is this recognize SHX text, depending on your version of AutoCAD, y'all. Probably 17, 18 would be best to have. Certainly 21 is out now. And what happens in AutoCAD 2021, when you bring in electronically created PDF, the text, both horizontal and vertical, are converted to MText. It only did it for horizontal in the earlier versions, but now it all does it. So there's my BT dub. Always scale your converted PDF to 1-to-1 before importing it into CET. And if you have an existing PDF, you just click that convert existing PDF to polylines, and over she goes. And it turns into polylines instead of being fuzzy. Bottom of page 3, gold star tip. AutoCAD LT has all of the above features that we just talked about. And it isn't light. It isn't light. Little story, once upon a time, 20 years ago, when AutoCAD laptop came out, the intent of the product was to work on the laptops that at the time had whopping 30 megabyte hard drives. Maybe you paid a lot of money for a mega RAM. So Autodesk says we need to get our software into the hands of these people with these new laptops coming out. We can't do this, we can't do that. So the things they cannot do in LT is 3D solids. You cannot do third-party stuff like Project Matrix and CAP. The rest of the stuff is on AutoCAD LT. Just looked this up the other day, annual AutoCAD subscription, $1,700 a year for everyone within the sound of my voice that your management is paying for you to use that software. AutoCAD LT, on the other hand, is $400. So if you are the CET champion at your office, or you are doing your own AutoCAD thingy thing, I would look at certainly AutoCAD LT, at least a seat or two, to drop the fiscal footprint down for your company just a smidgy bit. The question that we had from Anna was, are these tools going to work on AutoCAD architecture? The curious thing about AutoCAD architecture is when you go into customize palettes, and you come into here on AutoCAD architecture, if you right click, here, get out of my way. If you right click over on the left in AutoCAD architecture, there is no import. So I should have said that going in. Those of you with AutoCAD architecture, and I heard this from Mars Wall last year, our folks from the Netherlands, they says, Michael, we can't get your things to come in. I says, well, if you have AutoCAD architecture, it's not going to work. I have been hoping they'd fix that, and I haven't seen a fix for that yet. So my apologies there. Top page forward. Fuzz beyond everything, soon import CAD. Yes, 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 yes. It does become a CAD drawing, all those things, Beth. And I'll circle back to that question afterwards. I told Danny that I think I have about 5 to 7 minutes at the tail end, depending upon how I'm able to, okay, I'm doing good. Doing good, looking at my time. So that covered our AEC objects. Hopefully that resolves some things for you. The PDF, okay. Answered a couple questions. Maybe the Xrefs and Xclips took care of some of those. Then I get, of course, as you know, I get drawings for my kids, and that's all y'all. So you go out to Andrew World, you go to some website, and they get you a 3D drawing that's probably made in 3D Studio Max or whatever they're calling it these days, or some other software, and it's 3D and it's upside down. I have a button on the tool palette. So we see here the UCS is wonky. UCS World Plan, you hit that button, it turns it straight up. The XY axis is proper on the floor, and many, many, many of you know this as UW, as the Lisp routine that we have had in our training sessions when we were together. That probably a lot of many of you have probably lost. I can't find it. So now it's on the tool palette. Okay, next. So to set it back, what the button does is UCS enter, enter, and plan enter, enter. Now, to get this thing right set up, change to a 3D view and set the visual style to anything other than a 2D frame. Okay, so I have a button up on my quick access toolbar. This is not on your tool palette. I couldn't give you everything, people. Otherwise, you wouldn't want me to come and train you. So I'll tell you how to do that later if you behave. Okay, so anyhow, sidebar. So get to a 3D view and get to something other than 2D wireframe. I don't care what you pick, kid, but if you're in 2D wireframe, it ain't gonna work. What I'm about to show you will not work. So I'll go down here to X-ray because that's kind of cool too. So the next thing we want to do, select the objects, hover over them, so no command is going on. And so what we see here, sometimes you see this one, okay? This is called the gizmo. And some of you are going, oh yeah, I've been looking for that. I saw it, I didn't know what it was. It's because you didn't, you had 2D wireframe. If you have anything other than 2D wireframe, this thing will show up when you select objects. And so now you see where we're going here is take this band and you rotate him up. Okay, hold down Shift and click when you got it straight up for ortho. Okay, all right. So that's how that happens. Gold star tip. Now move your part to 0, 0. Okay, we know, you know, when you get to CET, that you always want to place a 0 point, right? Well, if you bring this drawing now into that drawing in into CET that has 0 point, where's that bench going to be, child? Okay, it's going to be underneath, because where's your 0, 0? Up here. So a lot of us will go, oh, I'll take the 0, 0 to the part. No, 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 no. Other way around, lady. Okay, so we're going to take the part, and I'll turn on my center snap here, get a little footy. Come here, child. Come here. Okay, then 0, 0. Now this part can go to CET. However, step 6, clean it up. What? Yeah, I saw one of you said purge. Yep. So layers, we're good on that one. Push button change by the push button purge, use frequently. And I added use frequently to the tool palette this time, because when I click this, I'm going to go to F2. This drawing was 5 megabytes of layer. I know. No, they sent me this all sports bench. I go, how can that be 5 meg? And so clean it up, okay? Then when you get back over to CET, okay, get back over to CET, here's our 3D, okay? Go to 3D. Now, that gets us in the drawing. So yay, we were able to clean it up, brought it right side up, and now we need to get it in the calculation. So in your book, okay, right click on the imported DWG, then add catalog information. Right click on there, and down here at the bottom is add catalog info. I don't think it was there 3 years ago. I think they slid it past me, but here's what this is. You have this 3D part that you cobbled together. It looks dandy over in 3D and CET. You put on materials and such, or you have a cap part, right? Now we know we've got this cool thing in project symbols that will convert the drawing from wherever it came from in CET and add a catalog to it. But if you made a special, right, over in cap, convert's not going to see it. So that's what this is all about. So what you do, and okay, I had that in there. So when you come in here, the columns that you see displayed may not be the ones you want. Say, click the little CBS eyeball thing up there. Then you choose the columns that you want to see, and then you just fill in the blanks, y'all. So this is a sports SB 96, 24, whatever. Sports bench. 850, I probably just gave it away. If you press enter, it drops down a line, so make sure you go back up and click it. Now you hit the green plus sign in the middle, and it's in the calculation. Shut up! I know. So I'll be showing this. I have a training coming up in a couple of weeks, and Lynn says, hey, can you take some? And I says, Lynn, you'll be just amazed. Here's how we're going to do this. So that is a leg up. I think that's just a little bit a really great thing that we can do. We can take something that's already out there, bring it in CT, of course, do the materials and take it in calculation. There you have that. Top of page 5. Okay. Add option. No, Michelle, I see that. And I was thinking the same thing. I was looking at that. Is there something in there? Right click for options? No. And so what you'd probably want to do, probably each line for the option code, right? This course project symbols offers something different for their side, but that's what I've got on that side. Okay. All right. Next, blah, 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 blah. Next. Now for the drawings that we have had fellowship with for so many years. Oh, Michael, it's the bird, or whatever you've called it. This thing has been around for 20 some odd years. What do you call those people? If Autodesk ever get rid of this drawing, I'm in deep weeds, because this, as you know, this is all I train on. Open this drawing. Okay, layers, everybody on the bus. We know that will thaw, turn on and unlock. And the other thing I put in this one did snapping. Did I do snapping on this one? No, it doesn't look like I did. What I did, if you ever get a drawing that's cockeyed, where the, I should probably look that up if I had a time, where the UCS is wonky, there's a command called snapang, S-N-A-P-A-N-G. Set that to 0, walk away, it's all done. Next, change to by layer. I invited a couple of other drawings to visit me. Yasmin's going, oh, we know this one. Kaylee sent me this drawing. I said, can I borrow this a second just to show you some whiz-bang stuff? And he said, sure. So push button change to by layer. Watch this. If I do this, you're going to see some colors happen. Okay, so that's going to change it a little bit, because when we take the drawing over to CET, we don't want to say, hey, it's the red layer, and I'm going to make it green. So that's what the change to by layer will do for you. You saw me use the push button purge on the other one. Okay, you saw me on the bench, so the purge, you always want to do that one. Then I got another drawing from Brian. He cleaned it up. He says, Michael, take a look. This thing is just wacky. And so the push button delete duplicate objects, which so many of us know is overkill. You click push button delete duplicate objects. You click OK, and I'm going to hit F2. I even got a barber pole on that one. It's so bad. Okay, 4,000 duplicates. I have never, people, seen 36,000 overlapping objects. Or say, I says, give me the drawing. I gotta show that to. I gotta show it to my kids. So anyhow, clean the drawing. So all this says, look, if you are not the responsible party for a drawing you have in your lap at the moment, you start clicking those buttons. Just go right on down that list and clean those critters up. Okay, because those are just, you can just get goobers. And so the idea is to get her down to skinny jeans a little bit. This is on page 6. Okay, so we did delete, push button overkill. Instructions to get the tool palette are on the next to last page. Push button, layer, delete, single pick. I'm going back to this one. Okay, so this is what we've done the last couple of years, right? You pick this, and you get this one, and you get the bubble, and then I'm going to go into this other one. And the whole idea, right, as you pick these things, is you need to get this thing down to skinny jeans, right? It's just like there's so much stuff. It's like, go lay down. And then the question comes up, wait, Michael, how do you know what you're picking? Well, that's the other thing I have on here is layer walk. And the idea with layer walk, and none of these are my buttons. These are all just AutoCAD buttons that I, congregated over here on the side. And the thing with layer walk, what you do is you launch layer walk, you just kind of arrow down, arrow down, arrow down, arrow down, arrow down. And what you're watching is for just things, okay, all the columns see them be on the same layer. All the fill in for the columns are on the same layer. And so that looks square, that looks square, that looks square. Apart from dimensions, everything's got the same color, just one color. So that's good. Okay, but that's the point. Okay, go ahead and if you feel a little unsure about that, go through layer walk and check it out. But the idea is we just use that layer delete single pick and just start nailing them. Then I remember in the first session, the first time I did this a few years ago, one of the questions was, well, what about hatches and Xrefs? So we covered the Xref thing. But I added this to the tool palette last year, and I don't think I got a chance to look at it. So this is quick select for hatches. All this does is open up the quick select command, okay? Then right here, object type, you're looking for hatch, and then you click OK, and they all raise their hand, and you say bye-bye, and you hit delete. There you go. Results may vary in Alaska and Hawaii. So so that was hatches. And I just used it on another drawing that I was looking at to pull up this thing on burst that we might get a chance to look at. Then what about solids? So I'm going to use the same button, and this time up here, going to go to solid. Okay. And then click okie doke, and you see a few of them are out there, and I can hit delete to get rid of those. Okay, so that's kind of fun. So again, just get her down, stuff that you flat out don't need when you get over to CET. So I'm going to go back up to our default plan that we always play with. And now I'm going to talk about merge layers a second. So there are your steps for the quick select for hatches and solids, right, people? Okay, so that was on the bottom of page 6. How are we doing? Okay, we're doing good. I like this. Yes, I'll circle back to that one. Hold on to anonymous for me, Daniel. Page 7, to merge layers. Okay, so the idea is you go in and you have all these layers from the architect, and you want to get them down to, like, I don't know, a handful. So we're going to use to merge layers. So you hit to merge layers, and all this does, guys, is it opens up your layer properties manager. And so what we want to do is select all the layers that we want to merge together, but don't choose the target layer. Okay, so I'm leaving EB core alone. I'm going to deselect door and deselect the header layer, so I don't want those. Then you right click, and all right, so listen to me. If anyone within the sound of my voice, when you set it up to that part and you've selected the layers and you right click and you do not see merge selected layers to, please let me know. There's a setting. I hear this about once every other year. And so what has happened is you've probably migrated from like a long time ago right here to 2021. And so there are a few things that are dropped when a migration of that magnitude happens, which I don't typically recommend. But if you don't see merge selected layers to, just let me know. There's a variable. So click merge selected layers to, click on the layer you want to squeeze them all onto, and you click OK, and it says, are you sure? And you go, yes, and it squeezes them down to that one layer. Sidebar, those of us using the specification software products of choice have A-Fern and then all these other A- layers, right? And the architect says, hey, can you put them all on A-Fern? That, people, is what you would use, right? Select everything but A-Fern, right? Click merge select layers to A-Fern, and whoosh, now you have all white furniture, and you send it off to whoever wants it and tell them, here, quit your fussing. All right, so that is merge layers, okay? Layer walk is now in there. So we're going to layer walk. So we're going to take EB core, EC head, and EF door. Now that's what we've done the last couple of years, right? Going to pile on. Let's take panels 201. Because let's say you're now doing phase 2. This here that you did in AutoCAD was phase 1. This time in phase 2, you want to put the existing frame, you know where I'm going here, right? In CET, and you want to draw your CET bits on top. Okay, so we're going to take these layers over to CET here in a moment. So close, restore on exit, click close. Okay, all right. Oh, when you get this, okay, say shut up. There's a checkbox down about that says shut up. So check that box, then click continue. Okay, all right. Bottom of page 7, right? Gold star tip. In a minute, when we place the first panel in CET, people, it will not snap to the CAD drawing. So just place it, then move or position or whatever you're using to move it over, okay? And then it'll snap to the CAD drawing. We'll see that in a second, but I wanted to point that out before we get there. Top page 8. Top page 8. W block. Okay, so now we're going to create a drawing from this one. So we go down to our little ellipsis, okay? And I always encourage you, or in that just little tooltip, you see that on the tool palette, guys, you've got so many drawings you're keeping track of. Just thinking, in order to kind of refine a sort, that if you put CAD for CET in as the file name, then you sort by that, hey, what's this for? And there's no doubt in your mind what this is for. Bet this is for CET. So I'll do CAD for CET base plan and save it. Select the objects, high and outside, ball 4. There you go. Don't change the pick point. Okay, click okie doke. I've done this a couple times. So now we have our drawing. Okay, now before we go over to CET, I want to show you this last thing. In this drawing here, where, there it is. Okay, in our original drawing, right, the one that had the AEC objects, you may have already also seen these 3D walls. Okay, now I just want to let you know that these 3D walls are taken care of when you do the hyphen export to AutoCAD, right? So that what we did to take them over takes care of the walls. So here's that drawing. Okay, here's that one. Come here, child. So the walls are taken care of, but sometimes you'll have this stuff that still sticks up. Okay, and this is a block, and what we have here, and I'm really glad I got this drawing. These drawings, here's my button. Okay, it's got thickness. It has thickness. So on both the cleanup tool palette and utilities, I have thickness 0. Click it. No way. I know. Click elevation 0. Put them all at 0. Okay. I know. So you close that one, sure, save the changes. And so now when you go over to CET, the thing's going to look just hunky-dory swell. Now, it doesn't cure all the vertical ills and things like that, but daggone, Leon, that's a big hammer. That ain't a bad hammer to start banging away on your drawings with. Okay, make all the thickness 0. Elevation 0. We've seen some things, text maybe in drawings that you got where the text is in the air, just in weird spots. And again, can't promise it for everything, but boy, it's a really small victory when you get it. Top page 9, last thing here before we go on over to CET. We get these drawings, okay? I know, probably 45, no fat clue. So we get these drawings here on utilities, and some of you are going, oh, Michael, UA. Yes, this is going to be UA. Okay, so UCS aligned to object. I want to put furniture in this room here. So I'm going to come up next here. See how the X is along the side there? Okay, so the tool path is working. Okay. So the X is there. So I'm going to click on that one. And it brings that room around your face. You don't have to turn on any layers, nothing. This is a reflective ceiling plan. That's why there's no doors. So then, oh, I want to put walls in. I want to put furniture in this room over here. Okay, I'll put it on that wall there. Okay, let's do this. So once you do your thing, then you go UCS world plan that we saw earlier with the workbench, with the bench, right? So that puts Humpty Dumpty back on the wall. So those of you who have lost your UW and your UA, they're back. Okay, you got them back, dear ones. Okie dokie. It's always encouraging to me when I go to back to see you, okay, for training that you've actually taken it. And I know so many of you are using the pallets, and that just warms my heart because I think I probably, was one of the ones who encouraged you to get on that pallet bus. So I know you have other pallets. Here's just a process on how to copy a button to another pallet. Not going to go through it right this moment, but that was that. The other thing is we have covered only 9 pages, and many of you know I have the book out there, the AutoCAD Workbench Final Edition. I heard from somebody the other day, they says, oh, I meant to get your book. So you can get it from my website. And look, if you don't do PayPal or you just want an order form, just ask me. So what this is this is 300 pages, okay, of AutoCAD tips and tricks and a little history of how I got in the industry and all this. So there's just buckets and buckets of stuff out there. Okay, so just want to let you know that there is a resource for you to have even more cool tips. Top of page 10, that was shameless. Round trip of a drawing. Okay, so now we already W blocked that out, right? So now we're going to go back into CET, Control W. You know, Control W is closed, right? That was really great the other day, whenever that was. That would have been yesterday, Michael, you old man, where they were talking about hotkeys. And I want to have one. There's something else that they had that I want to show you later too. Anyhow, is this an empty drawing? Nah, here, just make a new one. Control N for new. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 0, okay, because I have a hotkey for 0. Next to last page are all my hotkeys, by the way. I for insert. And I'm going to go out here and get CAD for CET base plan, right? Double. All right. If you haven't seen the import settings, they changed this with version, what was it? 10, 11, something. So about 6 months ago, or however long ago, we got a new dialog box. And so I'm going to, now, there's a very good chance that when you come in here, you'll have either floor plan or you'll have 3D symbol, okay? But let's go with floor plan because it says, oh, you're bringing in floor plan. There's embed CAD file and drawing. I'll talk about that if I get a chance a little bit later. Show in 2D. Oh, I want to show 2D entities in the 3D view. And now notice that the floor plan setting is now modified. Okay, and I want to import 3D CAD entities. Maybe I want to see that too. So if you check a box off of the defaults, it says, well, you changed that, you went off the reservation. So you hit your save button and you can save a default setting. So I have one called default CAD imports, like, okay, all the boxes are checked, just get her done. So that's what the note here is. Memo, sooner or later, you're gonna want to check the boxes, save the settings. And the good news, people, is that will be the one that happens every time when you go in, okay? So they said, how about this, how about that? But if you want your own, save your own, okay? Then click insert, whoop, whoop, close that. Single click it, we get the green box. Double click it, you get the green box and CAD settings. So we will definitely lock the position, so we know that one. Okay, so here's why I brought the what do you call those things? Panels along, because you go to CAD layers. Now you come down here. Let's change this into a mousy gray. Okay, and then close this here. Now, okay, and I'm doing, like I said, I'm going to do a training here in a couple of weeks for a null dealer. So I'm just bringing a panel in. And when you go to snap, it's not snapping. This is what I told you on that couple pages ago, right? It's not going to snap. So just drop it, okay? Then get your position or move. I always teach move. We do keyboard shortcuts, and grab that and put her there. And once you get it in, it's like, well, shoot fire. Go, baby, go. Panel, panel, ped, chair, chair, do your thing, snap, snap on top of the older floor plan, right? You with me? Ain't that neat? That's really neat, Michael. All right, yes, gold star tip. The drawing is linked, okay? So then, okay, you go and you're doing your thing, you pan over here, you go, hey, that's off, that private office isn't there. So I'm gonna double click on the floor plan. This just came along. Look it, look it, look it. This was a tool tip from last Tuesday. Okay, Ava put that up on there. I go, oh great, now I got to update my workbook. So this just in, you can come down here and look at open DWG with a default associated software. Shut up. So it goes to AutoCAD. Here you go. You go, wow, that's really, so I even sent a note. I did kudos to Nicholas and the CAD team. Those boys are bringing it. I know. This is just crazy cool. So now you go out and you erase the, come here, child. You erase this drawing, okay, the private office, save it, okay, so now I'm gonna save it. Now I go back in CET, okay, and as we know, there's a reload button. So right there is your reload button. Reload it, go, hey, what do you look like? Okay, I'll tell them. And it comes in and goes, what? And so, yeah, then the purple came because that was the CAD color, right? So I love this. I think that is just Jim dandy. And so quite impressed with the relationship that they are building now with our CAD drawing over to CET. Now, memo, top of page, whatever page we're at the top of, 11. Remember how we had that embed CAD file and drawing? Embed CAD file and drawings had kind of a checkered past. And so if, you know, Casey does a, embeds the CAD, or, you know, inserts a CAD drawing to CET, uses embed CAD file and drawing, sends it down to Julie in Boston. Julie opens it up, okay, and the CAD file is not there. Okay, then what you would want to do is, what Casey would want to do is go up to File, Import and Export, and use Create Pack and Go. Okay, because if you're using Pack and Go, it will create a .cmpck, and then you can go into Open. You can go into Open and see the CMPCK like I have this screen capture up here. You'd have to make sure that the Windows Open and Save dialogues is not checked, which I typically check, but that's how you would see it. Okay? All right, going forward. So now, how are we doing? Oh, did it here. Okay, so now what we have to do is we need to get this critter back to AutoCAD, right? So zoom extend, so we have furniture, and here it's laid underneath there somewhere. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we need to get this back. So I'm going to save this drawing. So I want to save this drawing. This is the this is our furniture plan. Okay, so I have this furniture plan. Now what we want to do is export it. So I have X hotkey to export. This will be CAD, this will be CET for CAD, right? Going back the other direction. So now we're taking CET back to CAD. Furniture. Okay, so we save that one. Now let's chat. First of all, I would recommend that if you're going to export, you want a 2D and a 3D, do them separately. 2D view, 3D view, because the 2D and the 3D sits on the 2D and there's not separate layers for those two types. So just do them separate. Pay-per-views. Oh, we're going to get layout tabs from our pay-per-view. No, you're not going to get that. CT pay-per-views and view clips. Technically just pay-per-views here. You do not get layout tabs of CET pay-per-views if you check the box to include them. You would certainly think what you wind up doing, and you know, this is a push me, pull you, good news, bad news, whatever, just advised. In model space, in the lower right corner of the AutoCAD drawing is the one-to-one geometry, what could be an 11 by 17, okay, down there. So right to the bottom right of this peninsula table here is going to be your little pay-per-view content, and everything is a block. Now that's how far I've unpacked it. I just want to let you know that when you go to do that, you go, oh, I didn't get layout tabs, but look at the bottom right corner of your geometry of what was imported, you might see it. Okay, now here's another thing. This was brilliant. I had the question from a customer. She says, but Michael, I only want the furniture because the CAD drawing's already in AutoCAD. I'll bring that in as I need to. I just need to see the furniture in AutoCAD. So how do you get it out with just the furniture? you check the filter box, then you go to filter settings, then the filter tab, can you say filter? And then you come down to CET designer, okay? And you click the CAD drawing. I don't want to see the CAD drawing. Now, this works just dandy. I sent a note to support and they came back and they had a super explanation as to why they do not show you what the result will do behind the scenes of this checkbox, okay? So my note to you is, memo, the result of your choice is not displayed until you open the drawing in AutoCAD. So just in CET, you confirm it. Just go into tools and filter and do what you're gonna do to the CAD drawing when you send it out. And it'll say, okay, if you're happy with that, then out you go, use filter. Okay. All right, so that's kind of trippy, and we'll see that in a sec. Advanced settings down here at the bottom. Bless their hearts. Steelcase and Hayworth had that true color thing for 13 years. So they've had had CET since dirt, and they've been having this true color thing and, you know, fix it. And so the rest of the colored trucks got on board, right? The orange truck, the blue truck, gray truck, black truck. So all these other manufacturers got on board and say, hey, what's with the true color? And so they said, okay, we'll fix it. And so now you have force all colors to AutoCAD color index. And so now if you have not, if that's escaped your view, it was under advanced settings. Okay, so check that box, export the fonts. And then a few months back, okay, when another version came out earlier, one before this, they had flattened 2D graphics, because if you brought in 2D and you had a task light, then you looked at it in 3D, you'd notice the task light or the up mount glass or something was floating in 2D or in 3D in AutoCAD. So the flattened 2D graphics, good to do. The good news here is that these choices are retained. You set them and forget them. It's like, good on you. Okay, good or done. Just let her rip. Oh, and a little bit about this. Export imported CAD. That button was a problem for a moment because when you check the box and it goes into AutoCAD as an Xref, the Xref doors were wonky. Remember that? Okay, they fixed that. Now they have an issue that they're very well aware of, that if you check the box and this whole filter the CAD drawing out, the CAD drawing comes with. So I'm not going to check the box so that I can show this how it works. Okay, then click OK. All right, out she goes. So I'm going to come on over here to some version of AutoCAD. Go up to open. I'm going to get my CET for CAD furniture double. Okay, zoom extends, and it's just the furniture. Okay. All right, so that is how that works, how to get her back into AutoCAD. Some of you will also remember, and I'm going to go back over to here a second. Come here, child. Okay, going to come over to here and maybe go up to this one. This sometimes, like Friday at 4, you want to plot monochrome or back in true color days, right? It was just a struggle. And so I gave you the bigger hammer. The bigger hammer is still on utilities. Layers to white. If it's Friday at 4 and for the life of you, it will not plot monochrome, hit the button. It's like, okay. Now, I didn't do convert to layers, color by layer, but you go down through the buttons, okay, on that drawing, and it will most assuredly be, everything will be white. Then you plot it, and I even put a Humpty Dumpty back on the wall. So it layer previous, and it goes back to what it was. Okay, now don't forget that button. Don't save it and come back on Monday and expect it to work. It's not going to do that. Where are we in the book? Okay, there's your, whoopsie, come here, child. Gold star tip for the monochrome and the layers to white. Okay, and you can read that stuff, CT Furniture and AutoCAD. I want to be able to get to this too. So over here, we're going to be in a base plan. And I love that we can draw walls in CET, but I ain't going to draw this in CET. I am not going to draw this little pointy thing in CET. So on your tool palette, I have press pull. Okay, now many of you know about, what is that, extrude, but you need polylines for extrude, don't y'all? Okay, so press pull, you click inside, and I made the little pick box T90 so you can get in those little wall cavities. Okay, I have a pick box 5 to put it back. But in here, when you click in a wall cavity and you move your cursor up and say 10 feet, enter. Then you click in this wall cavity and move it up and you go 10 feet, enter. And so now what you have is you have these 3D pieces. Okay, so my note to you on that one, okay, select the walls, copy paste them into a new drawing. Okay, so I would select these two solids. Okay, select those two solids. Then you'd want to make one called 3D walls. So in an effort to have more time, I had this all prepped. So I'll go over here. Do I have this up here? Elemental 3D walls. Okay, so you do your import, you do your 0 point, you do your import, you go to 3D, and sure enough, you have 3D walls that will accept materials. Okay, and the other thing you see there in the screen capture, okay, accepts materials. Put in a header, set your wall height to like 24 inches, put a little header up here and a little footer down there, and you can put materials on your white floor and bring your stuff in, and the flowers that Curtis finally showed me where they buried them. Okay, so you have that. Cool. Next. Good. Keyboard shortcuts are on the next to last page. When I started, see, I've only been doing CET training for like what, 3.5 years or so. And so I'm kind of new to it. And I freaked out when I started it. You know, I went to Miller and he says, come train, help with our rollout. I go, okay, I'm scared. So I had like 6 shortcuts. Now I've got a full page of them, because it's like, I want all my kids just be able to type. So here's a draw hand, command hand, right? So here's all these shortcuts that are out there, even some that are out here that I did not know. Well, this one I didn't even know about. And I'm going to take a second and show you a real quick one. Let me do this real quick. And it blew my mind when we were in the what do you call it thing, the Family Feud thing yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to put in a favorite. And sorry, you know, I can't be everybody's furniture hero here. So I'm just going to put a few stations in here. And there's a feature called, here, let go. I'm hitting escape. That doesn't do jack. So there's going to be a time in a CET drawing, and I've seen your I have seen your drawings, people. I have seen what you do. Remember this drawing? Where's that one? It had stuff every place, right? I've seen your stuff. Don't do that in CT, but if you do, check this out. Select what you want to do. Select what you want to keep. Control K is a crop routine that doesn't just X-clippy crop it. It gets rid of what you didn't say. Wait, come with me, and it ditches everything else. I know. I heard that from one of the developers. He says, oh, my favorite key was Control K. I says, I got to share this with my kids. So add that to your workbook, Control K. Use it gently. Top page 15, just to wrap it up. Okay. How to load the tool palette. Yes, this works on AutoCAD, or sorry, LT and every other version of AutoCAD within the sound of my voice. Okay, so you can have that. I do training, as you full well know. You can have from an hour to 2 days. I did training for Staples a couple of weeks ago, so I put a couple of things they said that was very nice to say about my training on that. Okay, all right, so Danielle, go ahead, let her rip. What do we got, 6, 7 minutes? I don't know how you want to do this.
Yeah, no, I can definitely read off. I think you might have answered some of these questions, but I tried to get to the ones that you haven't yet. So we have one from an anonymous attendee. Why do some layers not allow you to delete them? I always get an error message that they can't be deleted even after completing the purge and overkill command.
I've seen that. A, not your fault. B, and this is gutsy of me to say this, send me that drawing. Now, don't, oh, look, we can I stopped doing that. My wife says, Michael, you got to come out of the office here from answering everybody's questions on that. But not just now, I mean, regarding sending me drawings. On a case-by-case basis, I would look at that one. There is a thing that I've seen that, and I'm not quite sure why. I don't have an answer. I'd have to look under the hood for that one.
All right. Next one was from Jess. Does the tool palette work in CAD LT?
Yes.
CAD
yes, that was, yeah, we did that one. Yeah.
And
you're crying.
Mary is wondering, how can I get the tool palette?
Correct. So right here, if you go to my speaker page, right, so you go back to the CT experience and you go to speakers. So you have setup and speakers. So speakers is on there. Scroll on down to my face. Okay. Click on me, and over here on the right side, then for you, there will be download materials. Okay, download materials. I put that out on LinkedIn and on Facebook last night, and so also you can go down there and download it. And Danielle has just done that, so that you can click on in the chat. That will go straight to that location, download them. Thank you, you are a champion.
No problem.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely go and click on that there. I saw the downloaded tools, so that is available for all of you guys. LT Thompson, I brought a drawing into CET and the doors and windows offset from the walls. Any idea why or how to fix?
Yeah, that was a fix, and that's the one I was mentioning here. When you export, here, export, and here I'll just choose something, sure. What happens is you have, oh, I don't have a box here. When you check that box to export it, you're exporting the CAD file to go back into AutoCAD as an Xref. That was a fix that fixed, gosh, a few months back. So if you are still having that, that would be a chat support thing, and tell them Michael said you fixed it, and it'll fix it. That's all I know. The current anomaly is that if you filter out the CAD drawing, it doesn't go over.
Good tips there. Next one, anonymous attendee. CT is saving my CAD file as a temp file on my hard drive, so when I make changes to the file from the server and hit update, nothing happens. I end up having to delete the file and import it again. Is there a way to change this?
Gosh, that's if you started with the word CET in the front of that question, that's something they're going to have to do. Look at that one. Golly, I don't have an answer for that one. Gosh, Daniel, that might be even something you would know on that one. Let me address this other one real, okay. Elizabeth, the Control I is just the inverse selection. The Control K is the cropping of the selection. Okay, so that's the difference in there. Go ahead, Dave.
And to answer the anonymous attendee, I would make sure that it is reading where you've pulled that from, because wherever you load in the CAD file from, it's loading in a file path. So it's reading that file path no matter what. So if you move that file path, let's say you had the CAD plan on your desktop, you moved it to a hard drive server, it can't read that anymore. So something's telling me in that scenario that maybe you have shifted it or saved it in a new place, and maybe it's not able to find it to reload.
And just to follow up on that, that's good, Danielle. You guys, stop getting real chatty with your path names, okay? You're putting dots in there, you're putting dashes and spaces on your file names. Michael, it's the date and time. The path name that Danielle's talking about, there's a limit that somebody's built into this thing. You get too long, it's going to drop it off. It's just going to drop it off. So get a little more cryptic in your naming conventions. And if you need to send something out to your designers as to this means this and this means that, don't get real chatty. That's the other thing I've found out too.
Yeah, that's a really good point there, because if you start getting those file names too long and you start moving things around, it can get really complicated. I know at my dealership, a really good little tip and trick is we try to keep everything on a network location so it is accessible to everyone. Especially now with technology, you can easily access network locations even working from home. So super beneficial that way. I'm not sure if you answered this one, Michael. Patty is saying, if you check the box in CET to not export the CAD, if you had added the base in something like a CAD chair from a third-party manufacturer, will it not export the chair as well?
Interesting. So you're bringing the chair in as a CAD drawing. Haha. Shoot. Shoot. So yeah, if you bring the drawings in, if it's a DWG that came in, you bring not only the base plan, but then the chair is a DWG and the other is a DWG, and you choose not to export the, that's as an Xref. That checkbox was for an Xref, Patty, right? So that checkbox was for an Xref. And they'll both go over. Now, if you want to leave the chair and leave the base plan, that's a filtery thing. That's a filter thing. I think that's the recipe we're looking at there, in there. If I'm understanding your checkbox, Patty. Okay.
Okay, Carrie said, is there a way to view items on a CAD plan that are covered by furniture other than putting your plan at 10 foot in the air?
Putting your floor plan, is there a way to view items on a CAD plan? That are covered by the furniture. Haha. I'd have to look at that one. Is there a way? There's got to be a way. There has to be something. And it would be on the CT side, right? Once you get over there. I don't have an answer on that. That would be a good one. I might, send me that. I think we're going to capture all these questions from the speakers we're asking, that we capture these questions so that we can respond to them. next
Yeah.
next
We'll
session.
definitely reach out to that, Carrie, if we can't answer. I'm guessing that you're bringing in furniture into CET is kind of my takeaway from there, and you might be able to hide the layers if they're on a separate layer.
That might be. Sure. Cool.
Harmony asked, she missed the beginning of populating the straight walls on the CAD file. The packet, is that in the packet, or can you show that quickly again?
Populating straight walls. Oh, they're just the straight walls, though, Harmony. Those are just Joe Bob normal walls that you would do in CET in here. So now, unless you were talking about the frames, okay, so you can go into your HAN or go into whatever your product line is and place it. I think I might misunderstand your question. I didn't do straight walls. I did the curved walls over in the CAD drawing. Okay, these ones, or sorry, the oddly shaped ones. Here, just real quick, if you know, but this was at the end, Harmony. I'm not quite sure what you missed, dear one. So reach out to me after that. Yeah, I wish the rest of the day was ours, but unfortunately it's not.
So that we can keep going. I do want to mention, LT Thompson, you said that your earlier question was about bringing the CAD file into CET, not exporting it from CET. My only thought process is something's happening there where it's reading that temp file. She mentioned that she was working off the network.
Okay.
So it's happening for the whole office. Thompson, I would also recommend, I don't know if you've tried our chat support yet, but that might be a really good thing for our team to remote in and see what's going on there so they can visually see what's happening with the communication between CET Designer and CAD.
Cool. And I miss all y'all too. This was like, you are so very welcome. I'm glad that went well. I was able to make it because I could have just chatted on off. So thank you so very much, Danielle. As always, thank you for driving, leading the pack. And I appreciate
No problem, no problem. And if you didn't get your question in or didn't get it answered by Michael, there is a forum post that we are monitoring, but as Michael said, all of these questions will be exported out so he can get back to you on those, and we can also get back to you on those as well with an answer. The session is ending here. Don't forget about your CEUs. You do get CEUs for this session. DH will be the initial that you'll want to use next to that drawing. There is going to be content on the live for the break, so feel free to hop off of this session and head to the live session. The next session will kick off at 2:40, so you'll want to make sure you're on the next session by 2:40 there. And Michael, if you just want to pop up that main page again, we'll go ahead and pause, and then we'll restart at 2:40.
Okay. Thanks, Danny.